oxfordshire again. Today I'm going to do an anime review, and this anime review is to Everyday Live with Monster Girls, episode 3, guys. So let's get into it. Now, episode 8 starts off with basically what we see nearly at starts off with our main character end up getting into a situation where all the monster girls he has so far, Centaura, Poppy, and Mimi, trying to complain that they want to marry him. They're gonna marry so and so. They're gonna marry so and so. Blah blah blah. That kind of thing, and they're fighting over him, pulling and nearly pulling apart. Technically, in a lot of anime girls, when they try to to get the boy to like them, sometimes they might fight over him and try to pull. But technically, trying to pull that person they like to them. But as they're doing it at the same time, they're technically doing a tug of war and using him as the rope, which is an unusual cliche in anime. They use basically the human man tug of war, technically. That's what I call it the human man tug of war. Because, think about it, they pull the name like they do if you're playing the tug of war. Because that is funny. But, anyway, and then the opening comes off, then it comes X, but then after that, after the opening, we go to the previous day, we get to previous time before the situation they were do the start of that tug of war to decide who he's marrying, because in this then it goes to the point, like I said, it tells it before it goes to the part before it tells us the story before it gets to that scene, because that scene does come back again. It's like it's a scene that comes in after this scene. It talks about we've found some interesting information. Sorry, guys. Well, we found a lot of different information in this anime, guys. In this episode, because the main information we find out is that the law between humans not allowed and monsters not to have a relationship, can't get married or anything like that, or have a sexual relationships. Now they found that the rules now have been changed. Now monsters and humans can have relationships like that because they're allowed to get married. They're allowed to get married now, and if they're allowed to get married, of course they're allowed to have sexual relationships now. So we found out that they can do that now. But we also find out that the monsters have, every time there's a full moon, their instincts awaken. In other words, their instincts are more awakened there in their reaching world. So basically, they become more. They can become more vicious. They can become more sexual, or like with animals. Anytime a certain condition happens, their instincts, react. And with werewolves, when the full moon comes out, they turn to a werewolf. Technically, that is also technically instinct as well. So basically, stuff like that happens to them when the full moon comes up. Now, as they were uneasy, all three girls are uneasy because they found because our main male character had to get forced into marrying one of them, because found out he's a test subject. Technically, he's a test subject to see if humans and monsters can get married. Because this law is not fully official, seems like. This new rule now is not officially official yet. So that means if he doesn't succeed having a proper relationship with these monsters, this law more likely won't go in. But he's now getting used as a test subject to see if monsters can have a romantic sexual relationship with a human. So I can see why they might do that, because first off, as you become if you're just one person, you're taking care of one monster of the opposite sex, you more likely have those urges to, you know, start a relationship. Most of that kind of situation when you're with the opposite sex, unless you swing another way, but unless you swing the other way, but for a straight person, usually if you're with the opposite sex, if you stay in the same house with the opposite sex, or somewhere near the opposite sex, you might start want to have a romantic or sexual relationship with them. So, and that's still the same case with these monsters, because technically they're human monsters, and you can't stop anybody from having a relationship like that. Usually you can't stop them. It's impossible to feel like that way. So I can see why this law has now become into the account that they're allowed to do that now, because they know it's unfair for any of them to not have a relationship with the person they like. So now this law is in now, but as he's test structure, so via the Smith, the advisor to the monsters, our main character is taken care of. She technically ordered our main character to marry one of those three girls, or in this case, or in the situation that's going to happen, he does end up getting more. So he has to have a relationship with one of his female monsters. He needs to have a relationship with one of them. Like he has to marry one of them. And get forced and get forced to marry one of them. I'd say, oh man, forced. That's bad. Because what would you do? If you end up getting forced into marrying someone? Basically, it's like the arranged marriage thing. Because technically, you're getting forced into this marriage. Basically, you can technically call this an arranged marriage. And even though he gets to choose who he marries, it's still an arranged marriage, and it doesn't, and it seems like it doesn't matter. It doesn't, and usually you might think that means if he's alright with it, that means the girls. The way I'm saying that means he might be alright with it, but the girls not. Wrong, because all the girls want to be with our main character. They want to have that kind of relationship with our main male character, but he doesn't. So far, he doesn't think of them doesn't properly think them like that. So it's really hard for him to choose who he's gonna marry. So that's what, and because of that, they came out easy, and because of the full moon affected them in this episode, the insects came up. You know what they try to do? They technically, unconsciously, try to forcefully have sex with our main characters, so he ends up having to marry them. Technically. And we do learn some bit of context how other creatures end up how to mate. For example, snakes. Part of the mating process, they wrap their bodies around each other. Well, at least we get a bit of education. Even though this is sex education, technically, it's still education. After all, I learned sex education in school for humans. Learn a bit of animals, it's still sex education. But still, that's something at least. Well, for anybody to know, in UK, I don't know if you guys are learning it in your countries, if you're watching it from another country, but in the UK, in our school, we do learn this. We do have sex education for science. We do have sex education. Of course, we don't see them doing it. We don't actually do it. That'd be weird. But we do learn about puberty and organs and sexual organs and how sex works and how the sperm goes into the egg and stuff like that. We do learn that. So we do learn sex education. I don't know about other countries because I don't even see it in anime. Every time science comes up, no, there's no sex education in there at all. I'll at least expect to release one anime out there that has sex education based has sex education based stuff in their school. And it's a normal one. If it's an anime that's for sex, then no, I can't count that. But I've never seen it. But in like anime, like a slice of life anime series or anything like that, I've never seen a. Okay, it's usually when it's in school. Most anime is basically based on school students. But I've never seen it learn in school. Never seen that. But in anime, but we do in this country. So just telling you guys that. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this situation. Now, so basically now because of the instincts falling high enough, they try to forcibly have sex with him to keep trying to see who's he gonna marry. But because of course after some strange reason, because after they end up charging at him and falling over onto a charging over and him lying on a ketchup onto ketchup or tomato sauce, end up falling onto a tomato sauce bottle, or ketchup, how you want to say it. I'd say ketchup, but fall onto some ketchup, make it look like blood after falling down. Girls end up falling, it was blood, but then when they found out it was alright, it was just ketchup. For some reason they end up hitting him. Like, we don't see of course. They end up hitting him like they were pissed off. Something like that. And I don't know why, because technically you pushed him over. It could be because they thought he was seriously wounded or dead, but they noticed he wasn't, and they could have felt annoyed that he sort of tricked them or something like that. That's a possibility. But I don't know the reason why they end up knocking out. Now, we do find out their instincts does end up making them forget for what they did, because as they're not fully conscious when it comes into the full moon. So, as they're not fully conscious, they do end up forgetting what they did to our main male character. So, and he decides that I'm gonna start dating you guys as potential marriage partners. He's now doing this to trying to sort the situation out to see who's he gonna marry, and they accept. And he also tells them after falling down and getting knocked out, next time, go to bed early when it's a full moon. And yeah, mostly that's what this episode's about. So it's a bit of a long discussion about that, guys. Now, the animation is still pretty good. Still pretty good animation. And not much to say, really, guys. Else to say. It's got still pretty good animation. I don't see any problems. I think there's one thing I don't like is that how he kept the the shocked place, like wide-eyed scene, because I feel like there was parts in there where you can come out of that look, but he did not. So I can say that there was some dwarfs, there was some art and animation dwarfs there. So there were some bit of problems, but not too much, not a big deal. But anyway, and yeah, much I got to say, guys. So that's my review for Everyday Life with Monster Girls episode 3, guys. I hope you guys like it. Been calling Chinese fans today. If you guys want to see fan mail, come in the description below. My address is there, and yeah, hope you guys like it. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.